Hey ladies, what's good? Thank you so much for coming over to our channel, Mommy Seekers International, where we talk about all things motherhood and we even involve some current events that are happening in our world. Where you know ultimately that mom, you're not only a good person, not only a good mom or a woman, but you literally have a purpose under heaven to fulfill in the earth. Let's go. Hey, Mommy Seekers, how are you? Yes, you guys are meeting with me in the girls' nursery. I actually am in the process of a life to where when I come in the girls' nursery to come and get them in the morning, it's such a joy for me. And I do all the baby talking I want and all the incorrect vowels and consonants because that's the season of life that I'm in where I'm just able to really love on our beautiful girls. Maya, she's ready to eat, so she's kind of flustered. Nene, you want to say hi? Want to say hi? Yes, you say hi, my Nenes. Yes, you say good morning. Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning. Hey, beautiful mommy bears. How's everybody doing? I hope all is well with you and your world. I hope that you are allowing God to do something that's bigger in you than what people can see outwardly. Because I think those moments, we kind of get them messed up a little bit. We want the influence and we want people to see the great characteristics we have without actually seeing the making process or seeing the process of us really allowing God to prune us. And I really believe that's what this podcast today is going to be about. I decided to do this in a very more relaxed way because I kind of feel like I'm doing a FaceTime or a video with a family member or a friend. And if you are a part of our community and you have subscribed to this channel, I feel that, I feel that this is a space for family and a moment for us to just talk. This podcast is very special to me. Dark versus brown. As you can see, this podcast is really going to be based and related on when my husband and I, we had our set of twin girls, Maya Grace and Kaale Royal. Okay. Race is not something that is new to the conversation of anyone in this world. Regardless of the fact if you are of a different country, if you come from a different line of people, if your heritage looks different, if you did an ancestry and you found out that you have Indians in your family or you're European or maybe your great grandfather was Japanese. I mean, the world is so vast. Our world that God created for us is so big. Sometimes I believe we forget that we're a small piece of God's puzzle that He created. And it's hard for us sometimes to look at other people's lives because ultimately we see the world as we see ourselves, right? But some things I want to talk to is not necessarily factual based according to CDC, or according to statistics, according to knowledge. There's one book that I do want to discuss And this book is very important. I'll put the information for that book below. I think it's called Mom Jeans. This is actually where how I was feeling internally actually affirmed the reason why I'm even doing this podcast. And I'm going to actually be working on a project later to release concerning dark versus brown. So majority of what I'm going to speak about is based on opinion and based on my emotional intelligence. And there may be a crowd of people that say, okay, well, you don't have enough facts for me. You don't have enough statistics for me. You don't have enough scientific facts for me. This podcast really isn't for that. So if you're looking for fact-based information, I do not have that content that is necessary. I will be speaking with you according to my insecurities and the things that I've learned and what I'm learning. And I will also be speaking with you on the the situations that I've encountered with our kiddos. So I pray you enjoy this podcast. You know, one thing I've realized is, and I was literally just thinking about this, is as I was thinking deep into this subject that we're going to discuss today, some insecurities are so deeply rooted in our lives personally, is because they're really what others have thought about us or how others have viewed us versus how we actually think about ourselves. Hi, Mom. Hi, leading lady, and thanks for being here in this space with me. So I really enjoyed this article, and it just proves my point of some of the biases we have to endure and go through. This particular article from science.org was based on the fact of how we are seen as Black Americans or African Americans, however you want to put it, how we are seen from the point of view of other nationalities or people that are from different countries, even what we see that has been going on in Ukraine and how a lot of the Black Ukrainians have been suffering and actually have been put on the front line because of a war. We won't get into too much, but there are certain disparities that are mixed with our race of people, but there are also a lot of things that we need to triumph in and we need to thank God for, because our Black skin is beautiful. So the kind of content I really want to strive to give you in this moment, even as you read over this article, and you, of course, everybody has their own perspective and points of view, but I'm doing this to show that we not only have disparities outside of our culture, but actually in them as well. Hey, so let's go ahead and just finish this conversation. I hope you all have been enjoying thus far everything that I have been going over. I told myself that I was not going to include facts or try to include other information that can help expand your understanding and help you to consume the topic of dark versus brown, which is me talking about the tedious complexities that we have to deal with as Black Americans, maybe as African Americans, within our own culture. I'm talking from the perspective of my girls actually being classified according to certain behaviors, people viewing them as less or more beautiful. And it has been very shocking for me. I believe because of the fact that it's been more noticeable for me. You know, my eldest son has me and my husband's skin complexion. our middle child doesn't have our skin complexion. But when we go back in our family line, we find that our family line, even on my husband's side, has Caucasians actually mixed in our family. And if we really want to go back to in history, there was a lot of things going on and happening that put Black people at a less fortunate positions, that a lot of women gave birth to mixed children because of a lot of slavery, because of a lot of entrapments with rape, with abuse that were happening and going on with the Black people. Now, of course, does everybody's family line have that story? I wouldn't even argue that point. What I'm saying to you is, for me to stick to the subject of the matter is that we have biases within our own community. And a lot of times we are viewed by others, and we are profiled by others that are not a part, or not, they are not literally Black. We're viewed by them, and we're said, oh, you know, this person is this, especially with how you dress. If you dress in a certain way and you go out the door, I've even, you know, been guilty of it myself. I've not been feeling good, or not just been feeling like, you know, looking the part. I have gotten a looks. I have gotten a stare with me being the stay-at-home mom with 4 young kiddos. And I try my best to have my children always looking better than me, but don't let the kids' hair and their outfits be looking all in disarray, because there's another point of judgment as well with my beautiful Black skin. So I'm not coming to you in this a way that everybody stereotypes others. I'm coming to you in this form and fashion that everybody has a place where they've judged somebody else according to their skin color. And what I'm saying to you is that there have been moments as a mom that my eldest son, he has questioned. And what is shocking to me is that I can see if there was an environment created within my home for him to say, okay, well, these different people, for example, we have a book. And my sister actually bought a book for the kids, and it was talking about, but it was basically talking about great inventors, people of history that had beautiful Black skin, but all of them look different, okay? And my son began to ask questions or to make statements like, okay, well, mommy, that means Kaale, that is our brown skinned baby, and Josh is our brown skinned baby as well. Isaiah and Maya are our darker hue babies. So he was like, oh, well, mommy, and I don't know why he got the impression. He was like, well, that means that Kaale and Josh can't be great because they don't have darker skin. And I was like, oh, no, baby. So then my husband and I were like, okay, well, we got to get more intentional about helping you to understand that just because you have a darker hue, that doesn't mean that you're going to be more successful than your sister or your brother that has a lighter hue. No, that means that all of you equally are special. You're important. You're necessary. You're needed in the earth. And God is such a multi-generational, multifaceted, just such a big God that he created a big world that not only have people that are part of that are African Americans, but we have Latino Afro Americans, we have Japanese Afro Americans, we have Chinese African Americans, we have all of these cultures that are mixed within our African brothers and sisters. So I even told my son, I was like, baby, I said, do you know that there are some people in our native country, our native land, which is in Africa, that have a darker hue than you? So I said, there are people that are darker than me and you put together. And I said, they're so beautiful. Now, to get on the subject of the emotional intelligence that I was speaking about, I love the fact, and my husband has actually created an appetite within my heart to actually function and actually think how I'm thinking even now in this podcast. But I love the fact of not just being emotional and intelligent to know if somebody is insecure, or helping somebody else to deal with things that are maybe out of their maybe things that they've just been naive to, or they've lacked understanding and they've been ignorant in. So ignorance just means you've lacked understanding, but you willfully have lacked understanding. For my definition personally. And you being naive, you just didn't know. You just didn't know that there were Mexicans that are black African American Mexicans. They're like, you just didn't know what you didn't know, which is black people are built not only our forefathers, like our country was built on their backs, but we have to go all the way back to biblical times. And we have to even go back to King Solomon and the woman that he actually got intertwined in. Like, our culture of our nation of people goes way back, even into Egyptian times, when we talk about slaves. And I want to just touch on one thing also, that slavery was actually built on race in America. I do not have the content to back that up. That was actually acknowledged because I love to watch so many documentaries. I love to get knowledge and information that I've never heard before or seen before. So I do not have the context to prove that what I'm saying is factual. But for those of you that have studied our culture within our nation and where we come from, in our bio, you are able to acknowledge maybe if what I'm saying is a truth, or if it can be debunked. Okay, so I'm open for criticism as well, because I'm learning. But according to what I've understood, is that slavery in America was based on race. In other countries, even as the lineage has went back in retrospect of those countries and how they were built hundreds of years ago, slavery was not something that was abnormal in different parts of the world. It was actually normal. So there were black people that actually had slaves. If we want to be honest, there were, and I'm pretty sure that you can argue me down that this is actually have been one of the complexities of trying to acknowledge what in the Bible was used against darker hue or black people, to help them realize that they're lesser than, and there is a superior that we should answer to. Okay, the only superior is God. All right. But what I want to do is to get back on the subject of things, because I can talk about this for a long time, is that the different experiences that I've had, I'll name a couple of. Now, in the book that I mentioned earlier for Mom Jeans, and I'm getting off that because I do not have a doctorate, or I do not have a master's that is able to keep flowing in the conversation of slavery, of who we are, our bio, what we mean to others. I do not have my degree in psychology yet. Okay. But one thing that I do have is the understanding of why people do some of the things they do and the context they have to operate as such. There have been situations that I've been in that I've had to confront and deal with my own insecurity of me having a brown baby versus a darker hue baby. When my girls were first born, and let me tell you this. And I'm doing a project about it to release a little bit further. But I lacked confidence when people looked at my girls and they seen how different they were, how different they looked. I actually lacked confidence. Used to now. This is who I was. I used to lack confidence in the ability to know that I can create two children. I want to say that are so different. Who had the war that was in their belly, and they asked the Lord, was it Sarah? That was like, God, why is this fighting in my belly? Why are the babies going crazy? Because she was having twins, right? Was it Sarah? I'll get the context of scripture, but God basically told the woman of God that you have two nations in your womb. There are many times we can begin to see a perspective of what should or shouldn't be, or how you should look at something based on your own trauma, based on your own experiences. And for me, I was blessed in my childhood to be grateful for the skin that I'm in. When I started to experience trauma, it was during my high school years. I began to see that a lot of the fair-skinned young ladies were getting more attention from the boys. That Red Bones was in. That it was not black of the berry, sweet of the juice, okay? And I'm a millennial, so when I'm in high school, we talk about 90s music, we talking about roller skates, that kind of thing. I grew up in a little Bow Wow era, okay? Let the church say yes. But what I'm grateful about is that me being able to acknowledge that there was a difference that people see my girls at, that was really the problem, because people didn't realize that they didn't see what they didn't see, or they seen what they wanted to see according to their own perspective. So I would have people would literally walk up and was like, oh yeah, I can tell which one is gonna be something else, is gonna be a force to be reckoned with. And I remember one time I was with my mom, and my mama was like, well, who is that? And she asked him. And unfortunately, this kind of proves the bias, because these beautiful, sweet ladies, there were sweet older ladies, they were Caucasian. And they looked at both of the girls and it was like, yeah, that one right there. And as soon as they said it, I looked down and seen who they were talking about. And they were talking about my darky hue baby, Maya Grace. They initially looked at Maya and said that she is going to be the one that's going to cause the trouble, or she's going to have a lot of spunk, or she's going to have this get up and go about her that you can't control her. And my mom was like, well, that's so funny that you mentioned that. She actually got a little quick. She was like, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because they're quite different. And what I'm trying to tell you is that there have been moments and times, even in Mom Jeans, the book, I'm going to say this and then I'm getting ready to close. There was a study that was done for those mama bears that don't know about Mom Jeans. Please go on Audible and go ahead and download it, because it is an amazing read. But it was basically saying that there was a study done on children, and especially twins, that had a darker hue skin versus children that were of a lighter complexion, and that had a little bit more jelly roll, a little fatter, a little chunkier. They said that the study that was done basically said that moms within their households, and because I am so sensitive to subjects like this, I made sure I fought against it. Okay, so let me just finish the statement. They basically said moms that have twins normally would embrace more of the child that has a lighter hue skin. Now, for mama bears that have your children have a darker hue, and I know you like, look, sis, both of my kids is black, beautiful, and they have a darker hue. Well, God gave me the grace to experience something different, because I believe that there's something that is needed to be discussed and talked about, even with dealing with these race relations that we have within our community. And so long story short, the book was basically saying the study that was done, the moms adhere to, they actually love to embrace the child that is fatter, that child that is of a lighter hue complexion, versus the child that is darker, the child that has less weight. And I thought that that was so interesting because I'm just looking like, wow, Maya Grace, my darker hue baby, is lighter and she is darker. Kalia Royal is a lighter hue and she's fatter. Now, for me, because I'm so sensitive to topics like this and acknowledging how I feel and making sure that, am I seeing what I see or can I see what I don't see? Meaning, am I able to see both of my little girls as equally as beautiful and made in the image of God? Am I able to care for both of their needs without saying, oh, well, let me run here first? Now, granted, I'm a twin mom, so I can't pick both. Well, sometimes I do pick both of them at the same time. Sometimes I try to do certain things in the same way, but I do have to choose a lot of times. Okay, well, let me do you first. Let me put you in the tub first. Let me give you a bath first while your sister in there. And a lot of times I have to fight against this struggle within myself. Am I having favoritism over a child versus another, or am I treating my children fair and equal? Not saying that I've ever did that before, but doing it unconsciously, like doing it not realizing that you are causing more harm than good. So this is my spiel. Like, this is my cup of tea, and I pray that you have enjoyed the many seasons of my life. And hey, during this time, y'all please chime in. And for those of you that are new here, go on and visit our social media platforms. We on TikTok, we on Instagram, we on Facebook, we on Twitter. We're here doing Mommy Secrets International podcast on YouTube. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to sow life into you, Mom, and really be able to tend to your soul. Just like every podcast, this one was near and dear to my heart today. So I pray that even those moms that are of other cultures, or you are still yet having to understand what Blackness is and what that looks like, please just keep an open heart and let's keep the conversations going, okay? Even for those moms that are Black, let's keep the conversations going. When we see things, even in our children, let's be a little bit more sensitive to that, okay? Let's be a little bit more aware to maybe how our children are feeling, what they're saying, even if they have 3C or 4C hair, even if their hair is more fine and slick versus a little bit more knotty and coily. Let's be a little bit more sensitive to our kids, and let's help break down the entitlement, and let's help for those kiddos that we are having to put understanding in, that they're valuable, that they're more as well, that there is an equal spectrum of love that God has to give to them. Let's help our children and our kiddos to understand that there's no least or greater in the kingdom of God. There's just a willing heart and an obedient soul. Love you guys. I know this particular podcast was long. I hope you enjoyed. Bye. Happy birthday, Grandma. We miss and love you so much. Your legacy of prayer, love, and conviction of God's word will never be forgotten. Well, in other words, rogue mama. Mamas who have literally gone rogue.